Hey Embers, welcome back to the channel, and here are my first thoughts in terms of playing Assassin's Creed for the first time ever in 2026. So, as I just mentioned, I have wanted to play the Assassin's Creed franchise for a long time. I've been saying on this channel how much I want to play Assassin's Creed, and this month, actually, I think by the time you're seeing this, last month, I played Assassin's Creed, the original, for the first time, and I wanted to give you my quick thoughts. So this should hopefully be quite a quick video. So I had Assassin's Creed on the Xbox 360, the disc, and I decided to play the game using the Xbox One, so putting the disc in the Xbox One, and this is my thoughts playing Assassin's Creed again for the first time ever in 2026. Now, I believe the game came out in 2007 or 2008, I can't quite remember, but around that time period. It was very different from what I imagined. Now, I of course had heard of the Assassin's Creed franchise before. My husband is actually a big fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise, but I tried to see as little as possible over this. I haven't researched anything. And so all I really knew was that you play as an assassin in different historical time periods, and that really is all I knew. So there are going to be spoilers for the original Assassin's Creed here, so please be aware of that if you haven't played them. Now, I wasn't expecting the story and the way that it went. I didn't know any of the science fiction elements at all. So in effect, you were playing as a character called Desmond Miles originally, and he has to go into something called the Animus, and his ancestor is an assassin called, now, bear with me on the pronunciation, Altair. I think I've said that right. His ancestor is Altair, and you play as him during the Assassin's part. So I didn't know that there was this sci-fi element to it. And I wasn't really pleased with it in the beginning, but I grew to accept it and I quite liked it in the end. So story-wise, I wanted it to be purely historical. However, I didn't mind the sci-fi elements too much by the end of it. Now, in terms of playing the original disc from the Xbox 360 onto the Xbox One, the camera and the controls were not great, to be totally honest with you. I don't believe that the original Assassin's Creed has aged very well. I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I had the nostalgia that went with it. That said, I did think it was an okay game. Not a brilliant game, but an okay game. So I was absolutely terrible at the combat. Terrible. I struggled greatly with the combat. Let's quickly talk about the historical side. I am a historian, if you guys don't know, and this game is set during the Third Crusade. So you have King Richard is it the first or the second? I think it's King Richard the First. It's not my time period, as you can tell, and any sort of settings to do with the Middle East are not my expertise, unfortunately. I would love it to be, but it's not my expertise. So is the game historically accurate? That's a little bit difficult for me to determine. Obviously, games can take creative liberties, and they definitely do. For an example, I'm not going to spoil the second game too much, but the second game is in Italy and deals with the Medicis and Leonardo da Vinci, possibly other historical references that I don't know yet. There's a reason I know that, and I'll tell you in a moment. So, would I say that this game is historically accurate? Honestly, I'm not sure. I know that the Assassin's Guild is based on a real-life Assassin's Order, Assassin's Guild. This game also deals with the Templars, as does future games. And again, the Knights Templar is not something I know a great deal about. But I would say that sometimes the historical aspects take me out of it when I know that they're not accurate. Sometimes I struggle with that. Not knowing the history really means that if there were any historical inaccuracies, they didn't bother me too much. So I think the setting is great. I think that obviously the game suffered from the time period that it came out in. So the cities all look very similar. I don't think you can really differentiate between Jerusalem, Acre, Damascus. I don't think you can really differentiate between them. So the game felt quite repetitive at times in terms of the setting. The storyline, you have 9 assassination targets, and that felt a little bit repetitive as well. But I liked the story that went along with the assassination targets and why, and the twist that happens at the end, which I did predict fairly early on, to be honest. I don't think it was a huge revelation. I did know that that was going to happen, but I still appreciated it. Now, the ending of the game, I felt left a lot to be desired. Could you imagine if you didn't know that this game had a sequel and it ended like that? I would have been fuming. Now, luckily, the second game takes place directly after the first. The modern day, anyway, the stuff with Desmond takes place immediately after the first game, so that was good. But I was left feeling quite disappointed by the ending of the first game. Editing Ember here. I just wanted to add, because I realised that I hadn't said it throughout this review, I absolutely loved the horse riding. So I am a sucker for horse riding in games. I love horse riding in Oblivion, Skyrim, etc. I've been told I really like the horse riding in Red Dead Redemption 2 if I ever get around to playing any of the Red Dead games. That's a whole other kettle of fish. So I did want to say that I did enjoy the horse riding elements in this game. I thought that the horse riding was fairly seamless, actually. I really appreciated it, and I wish there was more opportunity for me to ride a horse in this game. But it was something that was quite important to me, so I felt like it needed to be in this video. Back to the video. Now, let's talk about the second game a little bit, not too much. I decided to get the Ezio collection on my PlayStation 5. It is included with Premium, and I do have Premium, so the Ezio collection was quote-unquote free for me, and obviously it's a bit more of a remastered experience. So I am playing Assassin's Creed 2 with the Ezio collection. I do have the Xbox 360 disc, but I did struggle a little bit with the graphics and everything else going through the original Assassin's Creed. As I say, the camera controls were very, very janky for me. And so I thought the best way to experience Assassin's Creed 2, and then of course Revelations and Brotherhood, would be with the Ezio collection. So if I do a video on Assassin's Creed 2, I will be talking about the Ezio collection specifically. And I hope I'm saying that right, Ezio. I think that's right. Now, I am about an hour into Assassin's Creed 2 as we speak, so we'll be talking about that more in March's wrap-up. And I am much preferring Assassin's Creed 2 to the original. I prefer the protagonist a lot more. I didn't really think a lot to Altair, and I know his story continues a little bit further on down the timeline, so maybe I will enjoy his story a little bit more as I get more of it. But I definitely prefer Ezio as a protagonist. I much prefer the setting of Rome, Italy. I much prefer that setting. I think with a lot of games set in the Middle East, especially historically, it's a little bit difficult because, of course, there's a lot of desert. They show a lot of barren land. Now, I know the Middle East is not all barren land, of course, but in these kind of games, they show it to be very, obviously, like I say, deserty and beige, basically, for a lot of these games. So I don't tend to enjoy too many games set historically in the Middle East because of that, because I can't really get on with the landscape that these games use, particularly retro games, as we would call Assassin's Creed. So I much prefer the vibrancy of Rome, the city. I much prefer it. Now, obviously, games can be set in the Middle East and still be vibrant, of course, but that wasn't, unfortunately, the case for the original Assassin's Creed. I would have liked more of that vibrancy. And one of the assassination targets, as an example, was who you would class as maybe a particularly vibrant character if they'd have done it properly. And that vibrancy was what I felt was missing in the game. So I much prefer the setting of Assassin's Creed 2 for that reason. The controls run absolutely fine. And as I say, I can't talk too much about it because I'm only about an hour of the way into Assassin's Creed 2. But it is my goal this year to finish every Assassin's Creed mainline game on console. Let me just make that clear, because I know there were some mobile games that no longer work. There was an online game, I think. I don't know if that still exists. And there's games on the PSP, the DS. I won't be covering those, just the mainline Assassin's Creed games on console. So I'm hoping my Assassin's Creed journey continues. If I had have stopped at Assassin's Creed 1, I wouldn't have thought much to the franchise, I'll be totally honest. But I'm going to continue on, and again, my experience with Assassin's Creed 2 is much, much better as it stands. So would I recommend that you play the first Assassin's Creed for the first time in 2026? That's a very difficult question to answer because I think it's important. I think the storyline is very, very good. I think it's a good start to what you're getting yourself into. But do I think that it was a particularly good game? No, unfortunately, I don't think it was a particularly good game, and I don't think it's aged very well. Now, I think my sentiments are echoed with Assassin's Creed fans. I hear a lot of Assassin's Creed fans say that the first game is not very good, but it's the introduction to a franchise. So if you want to do the franchise from start to finish like I'm doing, then of course you must play Assassin's Creed 1. But if you're not really that bothered, say you've played, I don't know, Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Black Flag or something a little bit later on, would I revert back and play the first game? No, I don't. I honestly don't think that I would. I think reading the storyline online is probably better than actually playing the game, to be totally honest. So would I recommend it? No, I wouldn't, but I'm a completionist, and so I did want to experience the first game. Janks and all. So you'll have to let me know, if you are an Assassin's Creed fan, what you think of the first game. Of course, it's the introduction to the franchise. It's what's moved the franchise forward. You wouldn't be able to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 without number 1, of course. So let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm sure there's a lot of nostalgia out there for you as well. But for me, would I play the first Assassin's Creed game again? No, I would not. No, I would not. And I am much preferring, as I've said, Assassin's Creed 2. So that's just my little thoughts on playing Assassin's Creed for the first time in 2026. They're a little bit all over the place and sporadic, so I do apologise for that, but this should be quite a short video. So again, let me know what you think of the Assassin's Creed franchise. Please, no spoilers. No spoilers about Altair's story or about Ezio's story or any other assassins that I may come across in the future. Please, no spoilers from this point forward, because I am enjoying my time with it and I want my time to be organic. I don't want to look into stories or spoilers or anything like that. I just want to play it and experience it for myself. So with that said, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye Embers.